Okay, so in this video, we're still going to be talking about the Pythagorean theorem, but now I'm going to show you how to find either A or B, okay? So I'm going to start off with this right triangle here. We know that directly across from our 90-degree angle, that is always going to be our side C, right? Now we have two other sides. Obviously, this one is shorter than this side, so I'm going to label this my A, and I'm going to label this one my B. So remember I said, let's make this one the small, the medium, and the large. The side C is always the largest side. So I'm going to use my Pythagorean theorem formula, but now I'm going to plug in these numbers, okay? For A, I'm going to plug in 2 squared. For B, I don't know what B is, so I'm going to leave it as B squared. For C, I'm going to plug in 9 squared, okay? Please remember that this is not 2. This is 2 times 2. This is not 9 times 2. This is actually 9 times 9. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to my Desmos calculator, and I'm going to type this in. So 2 times 2, see what that gives me, and then 9 times 9, and that gives me 81. So here I have 4 plus b squared equals 81. Okay, so now at this point, I have to subtract this 4 from this side because it's being added, and I have to subtract it from both sides, okay? So 4 minus 4 gives me 0, so this goes away. I'm left with b squared over here, okay? 81 minus 4 gives me a total of 77. But remember, when you are giving me a number that has a squared, that means that this is an area. But I'm not looking for an area, okay? I'm looking for a side. That's also an area right there. So what do I need to do? I need to take the square root of both sides, right? So I'm going to take the square root of b squared, and I'm also going to take the square root of 77, okay? So once I take the square root of b squared, I'm left just with side b, okay? And now let me come over here, and I'm going to do the square root of 77. Notice how it gives me an irrational number, so that means that I have to round. And when I round it, I'm going to write that here, 8.774. I'm going to look at this number, and I'm going to look at the number right behind it. If this number is greater than 5, then I'm going to round this number, the number 7, the one that I underlined, I'm going to round it up. But since it is less than 5, I'm going to leave it as 7. So right here, this is my answer. B is equal to 8.77. This is how I find B. Now I'm going to show you how to find A, but it's going to be the same thing. So I'm going to draw my arrow out from my 90-degree angle. This is my side C. Obviously, this one is shorter, so this is A, and I'm going to label this as my side B. So now I'm still using the same formula, but instead of A, I'm just going to leave it as A squared, because I have no number, right? For B, I'm going to use the number 8 squared. For C, I'm going to use 11 squared. So here, this is not 8 times 2, it's 8 times 8. This is 11 times 11. So I'm going to come over here to my calculator, and I'm going to do my calculations. Eight times 8 gave me 64. And then 11 times 11 gave me 121. So bring down your plus and your a squared. Okay, so right now, a squared is being added to 64. I have to subtract 64 from both sides. 64 minus 64, well, that equals 0. So these two cancel out. Leaves me with a squared on this side. And over here on this other side, subtracted 121 minus 64, it gave me 57. Okay, but remember, this is an area, and this is also an area over here, okay? I don't want an area, I want a side. So I need to take the square root from both sides of my equal sign. I am left with a, because remember, a is just a side, not a squared is an area, but a is just a side. And then now the square root of 57, let me come over here and do it in my calculator. Let me hide this. Square root of 57 gives me 7.549, and it gave me a whole bunch of other numbers, right? But I'm going to round the number 4. So if I look at the number right behind it, it's a 9. Remember, if it's more than 5, that means that the 4 is going to round up. So my final answer is going to be 7.55. That is my side A.